So I think it's been 4 years since I last did this update. Wow. About my orbital pseudotumor. So update number 2. Well, it only took me 4 years. So if you can see from the previous video, I've definitely lost a lot of the prednisone weight. So that is good. Here's the journey from the last video. I did have the radiation. Just go ahead and take, oh, that's lovely. So I did have the radiation in the left eye. My left is the one that is the most damaged. So I had the radiation in that eye and it worked. It worked for a while and it was great. And I was able to get off the prednisone, and then it came back. And it came back bilaterally. When it came back in this one, it came back in the right one. And they didn't want to do, my doctors didn't want to do radiation again. I mean, there's only so many times that you can radiate, and I had 2 rounds of this one. And so they're like, let's try the prednisone again. Okay, great, yay. And as usual, it worked. I mean, it took the pain away, it was great, but I could never wean off of it. And it was really doing damage to my body. My liver was having a lot of issues, and I got osteopenia because of it, presumably. And so I found another specialist. I'm in Florida, and I found a specialist down at the University of Miami Bascom Palmer Institute, and he has orbital pseudotumor, orbitomyositis on one of his list of specialties. And so I see him. I started seeing him about twice a year. Now we're kind of down to once a year because we're on maintenance. And we pretty much, to make a long story very, very short, we've done everything that we can. My case is so refractory. It's so challenging that we had to move on to a next step, which would be a biologic. And there's a lot of them. And so I started to see a rheumatologist, and them two work in tandem. They're in the same the rheumatologist is out of the University of South Florida in Tampa, but they have access to each other's medical records through MyChart. And so there's biologics that you can ask if you, I think Humira is one, and there's some other ones, but some of them are expensive. It really depends on your insurance. I had different insurance than I do now, but it was a bit pricey. So we went for the most cost-effective option, and that is methotrexate, which is basically very low dose chemotherapy. Essentially, there are pills, but the rheumatologist told me that the pill is more tough on the stomach than the shots are. I have a very, very weak stomach, very weak. I get nauseous at the drop of a hat. So I chose the shots because I figured that would do the least amount. I can't give myself the shots. I have to have my husband do it. I'm such a weenie about needles, and I'm so sick of getting a needle every Saturday morning. But it worked. I know a lot of people use this for rheumatoid arthritis because it's inflammation, right? It's inflammation based, and that's what this is there. And I was on a full needle. These glasses are rough. The full 1 milliliter, I believe it is. Very little. And we weaned down with the rheumatologist's help, and we just kept going and kept going and kept going. And I did that for a few years. So then the prednisone weight started coming off, and I'll admit, I do not exercise. I don't work out. I need to. I'm a naturally thin person. I'm 5'8". I was 123 right before I got pregnant. I was 123 when I got married, 133 right when I got pregnant, which is still fine. And right now I'm 144-ish. It does sit weird. It sits differently in different places. My height helps out. I'm completely within normal limits, but I don't like how it fits. Everything shifts. I also know that childbirth has kind of affected that. So I had multiple things going on. You know, I gave birth at 41, and I gained 50 pounds, I think, with that, and had horrible nausea. I had hyperemesis, and I couldn't keep anything down. I don't even know how I gained it. It's just my dodgy stomach. And it took almost a year to lose that. And I'm just about getting back to normal, and then got on the prednisone. And then I've had some other health issues, and just my age now, I'm 47. So you know what? 144 I'll take. I don't like how and where it sits, but I know it could be much worse. And I don't feel too much like an ogre. I still feel like I have, and I'm looking down at myself. I still feel like I have some leftover prednisone. Ignore that stupid glasses. But I still feel like it's a little poofy right here based on what it used to be. And I know some of this is age. And here, it drives me nuts. But when I'm looking at my eyes and my ophthalmologist, I see two ophthalmologists. Let me take that. Yeah, two ophthalmologists, one optometrist, and then the rheumatologist. So I see the ophthalmologist down at Miami now once a year. He's just checking in. Like I said, there's really not much more we can do. You know, there's no surgical options. What I'm on is working. Do I think I'm going to have to be on it forever? Maybe. Because if I ever skip a few weeks, I can tell. There's that, if you have that, and you're probably watching this video, if you do, there's that familiar nagging. You know, it's just this different, weird, nagging sensation. And that's how I know it's still there. Right now, I'm down to 0.3. And so the side effects of that are pretty minimal. We did have to go on folic acid, and I had to go up to 2 milligrams a day to really mitigate the nausea. As long as I do that, I'm fine. My liver functions have gone back to normal, so that's good. And I feel, I would say last year was probably the first full year that I felt normal. Like I was having a quality of life. Yes, I have to get the stupid shot on the weekends, but I'm functioning and I'm feeling okay. I'm still tired. They still wear me out. I don't know if I have chronic fatigue or something undiagnosed, even though all my panels have come back normal. But I do get very tired and exhausted. I'm a teacher, and people who don't teach underestimate how mentally taxing that can be in a day. And so I do it, and I do it all week. And then on the weekends, my body just crashes. And I've kind of accepted that. And I feel like the acceptance was one of the biggest issues, especially with the shots. The shots really, I wouldn't say depressed me, because it didn't depress me, and I want to honor that word. But it really made me blue. It made me wonder, is this my life? Is this what I have to do? And once I got over that mental hurdle, and once I realized, well, you know, maybe it is. If this is what I have to do, get this forever, because I finally feel normal. Once I was able to get through that, I was in a better place. And so that was, to me, that was my greatest challenge to overcome. So here I am, I'm cruising, you know, I'm down to 0.3. I saw him not too long ago. So we're just gonna kind of stay on that one. Like I said, I can still feel that the nagging is there. But as I'm going down, you know, I'm noticing that other things. So I'm like, my psoriasis, it got my psoriasis. Like here, I had it on my leg over the summer like crazy. And now we're edging slowly into colder weather. So I'm like, oh, this ear's gonna itch. And I have stuff, but all of this is connected to it. I never had any of these symptoms or issues before. So it's kind of frustrating. I feel like my body is inflamed and attacking itself. And like I said, all of my blood panels are normal. So that's really more frustrating, because there's no reason why. Anywho, so getting back with my eyes, I see the specialist down there now once a year, and then my rheumatologist. But then I also have another ophthalmologist, the one that I started this whole journey with. So I'll see them once a year and get my eyes checked. And then I'll see an optometrist once a year. And I try to split those so they're 6 months apart. So I'm getting eye exams twice a year, because I really want to keep an eye and monitor my vision, if it's going and if it's changing. Luckily, I just had one not too long ago at the end of the summer, and it seems to be holding. I have my prescription that I keep written down, my distance and my readers, and it seems to be holding, so that's good. But if I'm looking, and I have to look up here, but then I can't see it. But this eye was the one that was the worst. And this eye, it's not horrible. This one, I don't feel anything in it, even if I stopped using the shots for a bit, because a year or so ago, I think I went about 6 weeks without using them. I just went cold turkey. I wouldn't recommend that. It's not medically sound. I think I just got sick and I was off of it for a couple weeks. I was really sick. And then I was just like, I'm just doing an experiment and see. It's the only way I'm going to know. And I told my doctor after and realized that, why is that popping up? And realized that I could start feeling it coming back. So this one was okay. This one was rough. And you can see that this one, it's still poochy. It's still poofy here. This is the one that's the worst. And if I'm putting on, my eyeshadow got away from me today. But if you're looking, and the doctors can tell that this one is, there's just a little bit more poochier skin up here, whereas this one looks more the way that my eyes would normally look. It's so funny too, because my whole vision is off. As I'm doing this, I'm realizing I think that I'm looking straight at the camera. So I'm just gonna look up here at the camera, and I feel like I'm looking at it straight on. That's how I perceive it. And then when I look down, I realize that my head is turned. So I'd have to go like this to be. But when I do it, I feel like my head's tilted left. So what I have unconsciously done in life is favor this eye, because this eye is not bad. This eye it's got very, very minimal adjustment needed. So even after all it's went through, it's holding on. It's done okay. And so I've favoring this one to move and do. It's just funny. When I put on my makeup, if I close, if I close this eye, I'm looking off, it's throwing me off. This is the bad one. So I can close this and see, I can put stuff on. Yeah, okay. But then when I close this one to try to put stuff on, I can't see. So to put on my eyeshadow, I have to do it by feel. I'll do it by touch. And then just whatever I've done, I do it with my fingers to touch the other, because I can't close my eye, I can't see it. So this eye's pretty much shot. My optometrist told me last year it couldn't be fixed. It couldn't be corrected. And then I just had my other follow-up, like I said, at the end of summer. And you know, when you're looking at those letters, and the top one is an E, we know it's an E. I couldn't even see the E with just this one, like this. It's just, I just always say, like, this eye it's broken. Like right now, if I cover it up, I mean, I can make out things. I'm not blind in it. I can see everything in my room. I can make out shapes, but I can't see my face. I can see that my hand is there, but it's completely blurry. I couldn't make out anything. Whereas this one, you know, it's fine. I can function. So a lot of times I'll close my eyes like this unconsciously. I've just adapted. There was a time when I was wearing, at the beginning, I was wearing eye patches, because my eyes, they were so bad, and I was like going like this, and I would keep one closed before I was really able to get the glasses settled. So let's talk about my glasses issue. So I have distance that I need, which I've had since I was young. I had LASIK surgery, and now that's out the window. But I have a distance thing. It's not horrible, but it's there. And then of course I have the readers, and that's probably partly with this, partly because of age, who knows. So let's just pretend I'm reading, you know, I have my little reader thing that I have to see. And that one is getting a little bit more intense, we'll say. The challenge is that my distance, both of my distance, my eyes are different. Like this one can't be corrected, this one can be corrected. And both of the readers are different as well. So I essentially have 4 different prescriptions. And I tried a pair of glasses that did the bifocals with the 4, and wow, I couldn't even make it a week. I know they say try, Listen, I tried. I'm an English professor. I have to read a lot, and I'm up and down, and it was just like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So what I do is what I call the least of 2 evils, and I use readers. So these are readers, and I have these in a whole bunch of different colors because, you know, I like it to match, and my eyes were my favorite feature that I had on my body, my face. I loved my eyes. I love the color, and I love the shape, and I feel like they've turned on me. And so I got to do what I got to do to feel good. And so I've got about 15 different colors. I get a lot of them on Amazon when you know what your readers were, but then my readers change. So I can still get away with these. It's completely fine. You know, you can see they don't have the anti-glare. They're not over expensive. They work. They're cute. They come in colors. But I did have my prescription put into a few standard colors that I use a lot of, and that was the different ones. And I decided, like, I can't do the bifocals. I do have glasses for distance, and I don't really need them when I'm driving. It's not that bad. I can see things. I'm not impaired in that regard. But if it's at nighttime, I definitely do, or have them if I'm driving a far distance. I keep them there, and those are fine, and those are just the distance. And then I just use the readers in my everyday life, because I'm always looking up and I'm marking stuff, or I'm reading things, or I'm grading stuff on the computer. I've got a huge iMac. I couldn't do a laptop anymore. I had to give that up because it was just too small for me to see things. And luckily my job provided me with a larger screen as well. So those are some of the accommodations that I've had to make. And I just do the reader, and I just try not to struggle when I'm looking for distance. Like I said, it's not so bad that it incapacitates me. I can't see very far. I tell my students there's a water fountain in the hall that I'm at, and I'm like, you know, if you're kind of past that water fountain, I probably can't make out your face, but I don't stress. I try not to struggle with it or strain, because I'll find myself like tightening it up and straining, and that gives me a headache. There was a time when I was going home with migraines 2 years ago, I think it was. And so I don't stress, I don't strain. Sometimes I'll do this unconsciously to help out. I'll just get closer to it. You know, it's just the adaptation that I have, and my readers are working for me. I do have magnifying glass that I hold on to. I have some students, God bless you, your handwriting is horrible, and you write in pencil and it's really light, and I have a few kids, poor things, you gotta redo it in black. I can't. And I hate that. It's not fair to them, but it's the accommodation that I have to have. This isn't fair for me, and I've just got to try to ride it out in my career. And they've actually been troopers about it. Nobody's given me a fit about it, so thanks, students. But I do have a magnifying glass that I keep in my drawer. I have my kids write on index cards a lot for things. Sometimes I have to pull it out to get close. They have bigger magnifying glasses, big, like stands with lights that you can do. I have some of those. I've got one that's about this big, and it's connected to something that you can put around your neck, and it just holds there. So if you want to hold a book in front of it, I try to buy large print books. I don't read on Kindles. I don't read on phones, because I feel like it's just stressing my eyes out more. I'm an English teacher, so I'm a nerd about old school books. So just trying to get a big book and just making sure I have good light. I've added extra light in my office, having extra bright light behind me when I'm reading in the bedroom and things like that. And that's what I've had to do. So I don't know if I'm going to have another update. Hopefully if I do, it's not 4 years from now. But as of now, if you are in the same boat that I am and prednisone is no longer working, and you haven't already been referred to a rheumatologist, see one about that. Like I said, I'm on methotrexate. It's a generic, even out of pocket. It's extremely affordable. I have the little vial. It's a multi-use vial, and I can get about a month out of it. When I open it, I put it in a little container and I put it in the fridge, and I write in my calendar and for a month, and that saves more money as well. And just try it and hope that you'll be as successful as me, or I hope that you're able to get off and not do with this. But I know there's some people who have it worse. I know there's some people who I've read who've lost the eye. I mean, you have to take the whole eye out with surgery, and I hope, and I don't think that this one will get that bad. I'm praying that it doesn't. And I do wonder what the future is going to be like when I get older and it starts to lessen more, if maybe just the standard for age, and then this kind of is a layer on exacerbating that. So I do wonder and worry about that, but it is what it is. I don't feel like I'm disabled. I would never aim for that or try to do that. I want to have as normal quality of life as I can. And for right now, methotrexate 0.3 milligrams once a week is doing it. So good luck on your journey. I do have people that watch this video. I'll get a comment on occasion, like every 3 or 6 months, somebody pops in and throws a comment on there. So I hope that I can help you out in your journey somewhat. So good luck.